No, it's been recorded. Okay. So now we will share the screen. No. So you are able to see, right, the screen. So you are able to see the screen.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So anyway, so last class, we have closed, like you see, all the mechanical properties, advantages, disadvantages we have seen, and finally, these are the numbers also, we have told, and what are the important metal properties we have seen, the characteristic strength, and finally we said, you see, steel is like your Lego toys kind of a thing, where the building blocks will be produced by the companies. So I section, so you have to see the steel tables, okay. So the important all the design variables, whatever you want to say, the steel tables has all the details. Okay. So like what are the important design variables? Like yesterday I have shown you. What are the important variables? See the steel tables also there. The dimensions of this one, area, okay, section modulus, moment of inertia, radius of gyration, all those things say they are available in the steel tables. So you do analysis, then you do sigma is equal to p by a, yield strength is known, you get some area from the steel tables, you select a section, you see whatever you like also. Okay, so all the details are there. And sometimes we also use these built up sections or compound sections, like you join, you take some angle sections or channel sections, you make your own I section at the site itself. Okay, so this is required for sometimes heavy loads, or maybe some sections may not be available in the market, say, so you can do this way also. Okay, and then this also important thing I told you, residual stresses. So in steel, generally when there is no loads, our assumption is the stress will be zero. But in steel the problem is when you do welding, when it is rolling, if it is not unequal cooling, say some edges may get cooled fast, some edges may not get cooled fast, then you will be having some type of stresses. So this also an important issue in steel, the residual stresses itself. So already the beam is under stress before applying the load itself. So like this, how it varies also, it's very important to note down, you see, all these things itself. And finally, say, so we were looking at classification of sections. This is a very important thing which has been introduced in our IS code, say, okay, in 2007. Before that, it was not there, the section classification. So here the main idea of this one is, before you use any section, say, given in the steel tables, you should be able to classify the section, because in our IS code, so we are using plastic analysis. Okay, so IS code recommends this plastic analysis, and then plastic design, and then limit state designs, where you allow the structure to go it into plastic ranges or whatever. So this class section classifications becomes very important in steel design. Now apart from that also, as you see, all the members say like if I take a I section, the section may be fine, but if I see the individual members like the flange or the web, say, they will be very thin elements. So these are all like you see thin walled basically. Okay, so when it is very thin, say, so then the overall structure is different, but individual members, what happens is, instead of the global buckling, say, these may have a local buckling also. The flange itself buckles, the web itself buckles actually. Okay, so this is what we call as, you see, the local buckling kind of a thing. So last class we discussed, like this is a flange has buckled, so here also flange has buckled. So sometimes web also may buckle. Flanges are fine, web buckles. So here also I showed you the flange, this has buckled here itself, so this you can see in a angle section, say, this section has buckled. So these kinds of things also we will see. So to avoid these types of local buckling and other things, so this section classification becomes very important. So here also so we have an I section here. So this is like a flange has buckled. Web is perfectly fine under compression. This also is like you see a box kind of a section. Global buckling is not there, but the individual members have buckled. So our code, what it says is there, the sections that it classifies based on, you see, the movement rotation characteristics, and the code also specifies is the limiting width to thickness ratio for the component plates or the component members. Okay, so there is a limit is there for the width of this flange or the web, which you have to make your own classifications. So the idea is basically like this. So this is our code, the table which is given in our IS code. So it gives like this the ratio, okay, that is a B to thickness of flange, B to thickness of flange. It should be limited to these the details to be classified as a plastic or a compact or a semi-compact section. So let us see this how this classification comes into picture. Okay, so the thing is like this now. So if you can see the whiteboard, right? Now.
Yes, sir.
So now for the section classification, say, so generally, we use this beam theory. So let us say I will take a simply supported beam. Okay. So subjected to some, the concentrated load. Okay. Now where is a more maximum bending moment? Now.
Below the load.
Below the load, obvious, right? So what happens, you follow, right? The beam, it starts deflecting like this. So what happens? So now here the stresses will be maximum. So now here what type of stresses will be there inside the beam? Internal forces. Nah. What type of stresses will be there in in the beam subjected to concentrated load? Axial stress or compressive stress, or what type of stresses will be there in a beams generally? Now, what type of stresses will be there in beams?
Bending stress.
Bending stress is obvious that right, M by I is equal to E by R. You followed it, that formula, and how it will vary if I have a neutral axis, say. So this is the one. So all of you would have studied. So it will be like this actually. So this is our stress distribution. So the maximum stress will be at the edges, and at neutral axis, say, the stress will be 0. Okay. So now as you keep on increasing the load, say, okay. So these top fibers, the stresses keeps on increasing, and slowly it comes up to the neutral axis. So once the stresses reach this yield strength, say, of the material, or if you write in terms of bending moment, say yield moment actually, okay, My corresponding to these stresses, say, okay. So now what happens is the top fiber, it reaches the yield stress. So then slowly once the top fiber has reached the yield stress, say, then then the next fiber, so this starts yield stress, this starts yield stress like this. So finally you will have you see the sections becomes like this, the failure. Okay. So it happens. This is our yield stress. So M is equal to My, or sigma is equal to sigma of the Y itself. So this the stresses, the stress distribution, you see, it becomes like this. So now once the entire section has been the plastified, okay. So once all the fibers have reached their the yield strength of the material itself. So here what happens is you will see a hinge formation here exactly. Okay. So a hinge forms at this place itself. So this hinge, say, we call this as the plastic you see the hinge. So this graph shows your M is equal to My just at the yield stress. Now this is M has reached your plastic movement actually, and all the fibers, say, they have reached their yield stress. So automatically, see, a plastic hinge gets formed here. Okay. Now the definition of plastic hinge is a very important concept in steel. You have already studied. Okay. Now what is ordinary hinge? So what is the definition of hinge in mechanics or analysis? Hinge means ordinary hinge.
It won't allow translation, but it will allow rotation.
Okay, it will allow rotation, it will not allow translation. Perfect. Now what is 0 near a hinge?
Moment is 0.
Now bending moment is 0. So ordinary hinge, say, is defined like this. Okay. So in ordinary hinge, say, bending moment is 0. So this is how it is defined. But plastic hinge, say, it is also a hinge. It will allow rotation, but bending moment is constant at constant bending moment. Okay, it will allow rotation, but it is at constant bending moment, that is M of P itself. So this is the definition of the plastic hinge. So now in our beams, say, what happens is, so this is the ordinary flexural stress distribution. Now slowly, if you want to draw all the stages also, we can draw. Okay, so this is our ordinary the stress distribution. Now let us say sigma is less than you see sigma of Y. Okay, then what happens is slowly, say, now just let me draw properly. Now so some fibers, they may get plastified. Okay. So this one. Then finally, everything gets plastified. Okay. So these are the several stages actually. So sigma is greater than sigma y, or your m is greater than my or whatever we can say. And here also now it is completely everywhere, this happens, and now the plastic hinge gets formed here itself. Okay. So now if I draw this moment versus curvature relation, say, so I have a bending moment, the bending moment is there, and if I draw this curvature, how do you find out curvature in the beam? What expression you use to find the curvature?
1 by r.
1 by r. Excellent. Okay. So if I draw movement versus curvature ratios, okay. So now the graph, it looks like this. So I think in the slide it is nicely drawn. So you can see in this graph itself. So now this is a movement here, and this is our curvature, which is plotted on this side. So now if it is ideal beam, say, okay. So now you can see the movement curvature relation will be like this. So it starts here. This is our yield movement actually. Okay. So the beam, since it is very strong, so it goes even into our plastic range here, and then it stops here. Okay. And then here the bending moment remains constant. The plastic hinge is formed, at this place, and here the beam cannot support any additional bending moment. It just, for some point of times it may hold like this, and after that you follow it, it just, the collapses actually. So this is what we call as, the plastic section. So this is an ideal plastic section, say. So it is defined as, it should go into the plastic movement, and it should have some capacity, the rotational capacity. It should be able to hold the plastic movement for some amount of time, say, and then you see it leads to collapse. So this is a definition of, the plastic, the section itself. Then there is another section which we call as the compact section, say. Compact section also will be like this only. It reaches your plastic movement, but then once it has reached to the plastic movements, say, there may be a local buckling or something may happen. It will not have additional rotational capacity, just it collapses actually. Okay. So suddenly you followed it, it collapses. After reaching just MP, it will not stay for some amount of time also. So this thing, say, we define this as compact section. Then we have semi-compact sections also. Okay, so where here also the movement curvature relation will be like this, but here once it has come to the yield movement itself, say, then itself you see the local buckling also occurs at the yield movement itself. So after this you followed it, it just the collapses. So this we call as a semi-compact section itself. And now there is another section which is what we call a slender cross section, where the beam, say, it will not even go to the yielding movement. Before it has yielded, say, it automatically local buckling starts, and it fails just because of local buckling. So these are the sections. See, like I showed you the previous figures. So here before reaching the whole beams, reaching the yield movement, some portion of this one, so like flange or something, you will see this local buckling. Okay, so these type of cross sections are known as the slender the cross sections. So you can see, so the definitions also like this. It is given in our IS code. So plastic cross sections, say. So these are the cross sections which can develop plastic hinge and have the rotational capacity also. Okay, so they stay for some amount of a time, that is ductility or whatever we have. So the plastic mechanism. So this is what we call as class 1, the plastic ring. Then the second one, they develop plastic moment of resistance but have an inadequate plastic hinge rotational capacity. So this, the class 2, that's the compact section. Now here's a cross section, say, extreme fibers have reached yield stress but cannot develop plastic moment of resistance due to local buckling. Okay, so because before that web or some flange, say, they buckle and then it is lost. So this is what we call as semi-compact. And then slender section, say. So slender is the lowest kind of a thing, where before reaching the yield movement itself, the entire beam, so automatically there will be a local buckling itself. So this is what the four class sections are there. So our IS code clearly says that these type of cross sections should not be used in our design actually. Okay, so the width to they say like this one. So this should not be even used any cases. But if it is a case, our IS code gives some kind of a clauses itself. So this is how the cross sections they look like this movement versus curvature relations. So plastic means it will go to all fibers, the full beam actually it has gone into plastic range, and it will plastic hinge forms, and then it stays for some amount of a time. It has also ductility, that is the rotational capacity will be there. This is a plus, and this is the most ideal the cross section, which everybody wants, because it has a ductility, it has a strength, everything will be there. compact section strength it has, but the no ductility. Now semi-compact say it just have yield strength. The strength is also low and there is no ductility also. Now when it is slender cross sections, it doesn't have strength neither ductility. So based on strength and ductility say you can classify all these four cross sections. So our IS code, the same tables, if I zoom up, it looks like this. So if it is a compression element, say, okay, so if you have any flange, I sections or whatever, if you have, so now if it is a rolled section means which comes from the factories, directly from the mills. Welded section means you have welded at the site itself. You have taken some channels and you made your own I section kind of a thing. And these are the ratio, limiting ratios is our code gives. That is a B by T. B is that width of the flange and the thickness of the flange. If it has to be a plastic section, say it should be less than 9.4 times epsilon. And if it is a compact sections, it should lie between 9.4 epsilon to 10.5. Then if it is semi-compact, say 10.5 to 15.7. And if it is more than 15.7, say then it is a slender section. And as already I told you, slender section should not be used in our IS in the building design itself. So now, so they give for I section, then the web of a channel section. If you have say thickness of the web, so they give all these limiting states. So angle section, when it is a compression due to bending, so what are the limits? Then single angle, double angle, say, okay, so they say single angle, double angle sections, there is no plastic or semi-compact. All of them may, compact, they may come to this semi-compact sections itself. And outstanding leg, so they give all these type of the limits here for classification of section. And epsilon is defined as simply 250 by Fy, the square root actual. So now for mild steel, so what will be epsilon? Now see this formula, tell me for mild steel what is epsilon?
1.
Excellent. Why? Because Fy is 250. That is why how y is the epsilon will be 1. Okay. Suppose if you are having some other steels, then epsilon will be different. So now to have a quickly idea, say, okay, let us so if for quick this one, let us just check one section. Okay. So if you see one section, okay, so let us see ISLB 300. Okay. So this cross section we want to classify. So this is an I section, okay, 300. So this is the the I section which we want to classify whether it is a plastic or a semi-compact or whatever other type of cross sections itself. Okay. So now to do that one, say, so first thing you have to open your these things. Now, so you open our steel tables first. Okay, so this is my steel tables which already yesterday I have shared you. Okay, so ISLB 300. So where is ISLB 300 is here. So ISLB 300 say, so you have given weight has been given, then a sectional area has been given, depth of the section is 300, width of the flange, so flange width is 150, thickness of the flange says 9.4, and thickness of web it is 6.7. So these are very the important things for our calculations. And H1 also, if you try to calculate, so that also will be given in the below table actually. Okay, so you can go through this table and you will get all the details from this table. Okay, so now let us classify what type of cross section it is. Okay, so now for that, say, so now we do this calculations. So we have the I section, this is our I section. Now that ISLB you followed, right? So this is our I section. So now we have this thickness of the flange. So this is required. Then the width of the flange, that is B. Then we should also know the web also. We have to check whether web is slender or something. So we have thickness of the web. And then this is the depth of the entire flange, that is denoted as H actually. And then we have H1 also, that is ignoring the flanges, right? What is the ideal height of web also, H1. So these details are available from your steel tables. Okay. So now to classify this one, so we have to find out, so B is 150, thickness of flange. So you copy from the steel tables, 9.4 mm. And H1, which is the depth is 300. H1 is the to effective clear depth of web. Okay, so clear depth of web say is something you see 6.7 mm. Then epsilon say is anyway root of 250 by f of y, which is 1. So these details are required for our classification. Okay. Now we have to classify the flange. So to classify the flange, say, so we have to find out our ratio. So our code gives B by T, but what happens is, when you do the classification, say the whole flange cannot buckle. So if you want to, what is the width of the for buckling, say, how much we have to take? We have to take the entire B, or what is that we should take here now? So if I want to find the buckling of this flange, say, what should be my effective length? It should be B or something else. Now, how much we have to take for effective for the flange? B or something we have to take. We want to find out the the buckling of this flange. What is effective the width or something? How much we have to take for I sections? See, this is my I section. Okay. Now I want to find out the local buckling of this flange. So what should be the total width is B. How much we should take?
B
So I should
minus
take
TW.
B minus TW, or see, buckling, what happens here? See, at the center, it is basically, if you have a column, say, like this, the buckling mode shape will be like this, actually, all of, Now, if I have a same column, say, let us at the midpoint, I fix it, actually. I have fixed it or something I have joined. Now, what will be the buckling mode shape? What will be the buckling of this kind of a column? Now, so what will be the buckling? So I have a column which is fixed, like this type of a column I have, say. Okay, so all of the buckling mode shape like this you try to draw. Okay, of course the rotation will be 0 at the edges, so you draw the buckling mode shape. Now the same columns I fix it here also. Now how do you calculate? Now what is the easiest way? The total is
no length equal to
length will be, so now wherever you have, so it is something like the easiest way is of course the conditions will be different. You treat it as two separate columns itself. So this is one column, this is another column itself. You can handle the case. So here also, because it is joined at this web and some other things will be there, so our code says if this is the width is B, say, so you can take B by 2, B by 2. So to separate this itself, because you are at the center, this web may alter the buckling mode shape or something like that. Okay, it is something like a fixed kind of a thing. So now for flange, say, so the width will be, you see, so instead of B, say, we take B by 2 by, you see, the thickness of the flange. So this becomes 75 by 9.4. So this turns out to be 7.94978, which is less than, so from our table. So which, since the column is a, this is a rolled section, say. So rolled section means which is manufactured in the factory. So the limit for plastic is 9.4 times, the epsilon. Suppose if it is, you have welded sections, you have welded, then you have to take 8.4 times, the epsilon. So now if you see here, so 9.4 epsilon. So it is less than, you see, 9.4 actually. So which means, our flanges, what type of section it is? Plastic or, semi-compact, or this one? So for compact section, it's how much should be the value? 9.4 to 10.5 is compact. Compact to semi-compact is 10.5 to 15.7. If it is more than 15.7, so it is a slender. Now how much value we have got? We have got 7.9. So which is less than the plastic thing. So now what is your comment? The flange is a plastic, compact, or semi-compact?
Plastic.
It is a plastic section actually. Okay. So this way we calculate this. Now we have to check for the web also. So now what is the comment for the web? So what is the thickness, the height of the effective length of the web? So the H is the total depth. It includes a flange. It includes both the flanges. H1 is nothing but, you see, the clear depth of the web, which is given in the steel tables. That is, 6.7, how much is 245 point. I think I made a mistake. The clear depth, this is the thickness of the web. I'm sorry. Clear depth of the web is, 245.1 mm. Okay, so which is available in the steel tables. So now, so to calculate our web, say, we take this, H1 by TW, the clear depth we take, not the total 300, this one. So this, and for the web, say, whether you have to take H1 or H1 by 2, half you have to do. Now for web. So clear depth you take, here also you have to take H1 by 2.
H1 only.
H1 only, excellent. Okay, because flange, because it is a constraint at the H1 itself. So now you take just H1 by TW. So this is 6.7. You calculate. So this turns out to be 36 point. You followed right, 58, and you go to our steel tables. Okay, so this one. So web. So web of an I section, you can see here the web of an I section they have given here. So neutral axis at mid depth. Anyway, our I section is symmetric thing. So if it has to be plastic, so what is the limit here? 84. So compact section say 105, then semi-compact say 126. Now you tell me what is our section, I section is a plastic. How much we have got? 36.58. It's a plastic or compact or semi-compact? 84 is the limit there. Now how much is a plastic or semi-compact?
Plastic.
Now it is a plastic because it is less than 84. Okay, so this is less than the 84, so it is a plastic cross section. So now this I section is good or bad, whether local buckling will occur before global buckling or how, what happens? Now what is your general overall comment about this I section? Now so what is the overall comment? Flange you have checked, web we have checked actually. So now what is the overall comment? See whether local buckling will occur before global buckling or how? What is your comment now? You people are there, right? Tell me, what is the comment here?
Sir, how can we tell about global buckling? We don't know the slenderness ratio, right?
No, that is fine. The slenderness, that is what you told is correct only. But overall, just a comment actually. Now flange is plastic and web is also plastic. So what is your comment?
So if both are plastic, it can take loads before, like loads until global buckling takes place. So maybe global.
As you rightly mentioned, global buckling, you can say yield strength, right, of the material.
Okay, then global buckling will be first before
approximately. So here the flanges and webs say they are all good, the cross section, the B by T, that ratios are there. Okay, so this section is overall you followed, right, a plastic cross section. So this is how you followed it. We can classify. Now similar way, say let us do this cross section. You can check angle section. Okay, equal angles 100 by 100 by 6. Now you can comment. So from the steel tables, say you copy all the values. So gross area is 1167 mm square. This is available in the steel table, and width say is 100 because it's an equal angle, right, like this. So both are 100 kind of a thing. Depth is also 100 because B and D both of them are same. Then thickness say of this equal angle section is 6 mm. Okay, and now classify this cross section. So now here also you have to find out for this angle, you have to find out for this angle also. Of course here in this case, both of them will be same because it is a equal angle section. And now here you will use how much? B or B by 2, or what is the effective this one for these sections? Now
B.
B itself, fine. Okay, so B by T, and other one will be D by T. Of course, both are same in these cases because it's angle. So 100 by 6. So this turns out to be 16.66. This also is 16.66. Okay, and now we have to classify the section. So now we go to our steel this one, our code. So now angles, a single angle, double angle, so they give these type of numbers, B by T, D by T. Of course, you also have to do B plus D by T also. Let us do that one also. Okay, so B plus D by T. So the code says, so this one will be 200 by 6. So this turns out to be 33.33. So the other ones are 16.66, 33.33. And now we have to see our limits. So now for angle sections, there is no plastic. There is no, the third one, that is the second one, that is the compact things are there, only semi-compact things only are there. So what are the limits? 15.7, 15.7 and 25 times you see the epsilon. So if you go back, so this is also greater than 25 times epsilon, that is 25. Now 16 points, this is also greater than, you see, 15.7. This is also greater than 15.7. Now what is your comment? Now So our values are more than the limits our IS code has specified for this semi-compact section. So what type of section it is? So both the legs also, the overall also. So this is our both the cases, b plus d by 2, b by t, d by t. All the three cases, these values are higher than what is specified in the code. So now what is your comment now about this section? What type of section it is? If it was less than 15.7, say, we could have classified them into semi-compact. But if they are more than this one, say, so now what type of sections they are?
Slender.
Slender sections. Excellent. So these are all the slender sections. And now so what is the meaning of this one slender section means? So if you use this as a compression member, say, let us say some column, and there is a chance of buckling also. Now what is your comment here?
It will buckle locally.
Local, that means the legs itself will buckle actually. Now you will use this section or you will not use this section in design?
Not this.
You will not use this section?
Not this.
Then why they have given in steel tables? It's a simple question, right? They have given in the steel tables. You followed, no? 100 by 100 by 6 they have given actually. Maybe as a tension member you can use, because tension means there is no buckling, but tension member it is fine because there is no problem. But if it is a compression member, say, then there is a problem. So now if I want to use this column, slender columns, this slender section as a compression member, whether there is any ideas you have? Can I convert this into a semi-compact section? See, now this section is slender section. I want to convert this into a semi-compact section, say, whether there is any possibility is there?
Sir, we can increase the thickness, flange thicknesses.
You can't increase the thickness. That is manufactured by the company. 100 by 100 by 6, you don't have any option. You can't do anything for you.
Sir,
You can't change.
We can join two angled sections to form a T section.
I don't want to do that also. That is also no option. You don't have any equipment at the site. That's it. Use your engineering, the brain. So we do all kinds of tricks, in engineering.
Sir, keep one angle section on top of another and then.
No, you don't have any angle section. You have only one. That's all. BDT, one section has been given to you. You can't weld. You don't have any option. This itself you have to use as a compression member.
Sir, can you cut the arms?
Cut the arms. Okay, excellent. So what happens if you cut the arms?
Sir, B and D will reduce. So the D by T and B plus D by T ratio will reduce.
Oh, okay, excellent. I think you will be very good engineer. We will not cut the arms. Okay, so you can't cut the arms. So what we do is so this itself we will use. But what we do is so this is our angle section. Say the effective area. Okay. So what to do is, what are our limits here? So our limits are, it should be 15, it should become less than 15.7. Okay. So if I want, 15.7, this one. So now, you have to, you can reduce this one. So now it is 100 mm, 100 mm. So if I reduce the area, say like, so this section here. Okay. So instead of 100, I will take as 94.2 mm. So this portions I will leave. I'm not cutting these angles. So I'm leaving this, okay, as my design parameter. So I'm reducing my effective area. So this is also 94.2 mm, and this is 5.8 mm, say. So the effective area, okay. So this becomes approximately, so 2 into 94.2 minus 6 by 2 into 6, say. So the effective area will be 1 or 2 into 91.2 into 6. My effective area I am decreasing 1094.4 mm square. So this is my the section. So what I am doing is I am not doing anything. The original area, usable area, was how much? So 1167 mm square. That when I use sigma is equal to P by A, say, okay, the sigma y or something, I used to plug 1167 in the original formula. But if I use the original area, say, there is a chance of local buckling. So what I am doing is I am just ignoring some portions of B and D such that my usable area is not now 1167 mm square. The effective area is 1094.4 you see the mm square actually. Okay, so now I will use this area. So now I will assume in my calculations that although it is 100 by 100 by 6 say, I will assume that my angle section, the usable area is only 94.2 into 94.2, of course by 6 itself actually. Okay, so this is like the effective area. So this is like a trick. You are not cutting anything, you are not doing anything, so simply you are reducing the area. So now what happens when I reduce the area, my section from slender, it goes to semi compact region. But what price you pay? What is the price you pay here?
Lower load or lower factor of safety.
No, not lower load. So your usable area, see, original usable area was 1167, but now because of this buckling, so your area you have reduced actually. So what happens if you have reduced the area? So let us say the overall area becomes some huge amount. Say instead of using one angle section, if you use 1167, say you may be using 10 angle sections, may be sufficient actually. Okay, suppose if you, since you have reduced the area, instead of 10, say you may require 12 or 13. The more angle sections are required because area is very small. So what happens to your design now? So if more angles, say less this one, so what happens to your design?
Cost will increase.
Uneconomical. You followed it, the design becomes expensive actually. So you have to choose something, you followed, right? So these are tricks. Sometimes you don't have any option, you don't have anything, but still you have to use it. So you reduce your effective area. Now you are not cutting anything. Okay, so you reduce effective area such that, so like you see, you can find out d by t is so b by t, our limit was 15.7. This was our limit. So b, now what will be the b, you can calculate. So 15.7 into 6, so this turns out to be 94.2. That is how we calculated this these dimensions. Okay, so this is how we try to do. If it is slender also we can convert, but you have to pay a price. So this portion of areas is useless actually, although you may have a section there, but this you are not utilizing in our design calculations. So this way you can classify a section and you can use it in our the calculations. So anyway, so this way you can do, and we will see this in great detail when it comes to compression members also. But all of you should know how to use these numbers. Okay, so in the code they have already given. So this nice table is there. So plastic, compact, they will give all kinds of channels. So web of a channel sections, if you are using, say, these are the limits. So they have given all these numbers itself. So this is a graph. So these are the betas. Okay, so beta 1, that is a plastic section. So for this section, how much it was? I section, it was 9.4 times the epsilon. Then we had a beta 2. So beta 2 was 10.5, 15.7. So this was 10.5, then 15.7. So this is how the code looks like. Okay, so less than 9.4 means plastic section. Beta 1 to beta 2 compact, then semi compact, and more than this it is a slender. If you plot that in a graph format, say, so this is how the graph looks like for all these members. Now for angle sections, there is no plastic or there is no compact, directly semi compact itself it comes for this angle section. Now similarly, circular tube, stem of a T section, say, you can calculate from this numbers itself. Okay, so if it is a slender, you can make it convert to semi-compact also. The only way is this B has to be reduced actually, such that your beta will be reduced. Thickness you can't reduce, so the effective area, say, automatically you have to reduce to convert from one to other. But it becomes extremely expensive kind of a thing, because the area goes up, goes down, then other things will cost will increase like anything. Okay, so fine.
Sir,
Now please tell me.
in that ISLB example, we used D1, but we didn't use B1. We used D1. Like
So
effective.
that is for the I section, no?
Yes, sir, I section.
No, tell me.
But when we calculated for flange, we didn't use the B1 that is given in code.
No, we have used B, right?
Yes, sir. We used B, but we didn't use like, I don't know what is B1 in the code.
B1, where is B1? H1 you are talking.
No, sir. In the code there is H1, H2, and then B1.
Okay, I will just we will open the code. That is SP, this one, right? ISLB you followed, right? What is that result? ISLB 300. Yes. So what is, so now this is a flange 150. Okay, and
Yes.
depth of the section was 300. Now
Yes.
which one you are, and the thickness of flange is 9.4 and 6.7. These things we have used. Okay.
Yes,
And
sir.
now
Like,
what we have used is
H1, no?
H1. Come, I will come to that one. H1 will be 1, 2, 4, 4, 3, 4. 13th one will be this one, 300. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the one, right?
Yes, sir.
H1 is
That
how much?
245.1.
245.1, which is the effective you followed, right? The depth, that is the depth of the web. Tell me now.
Sir, then what is this B1? H1,
B1.
H2, B1.
No, H1, H2. This is H1, H2 is this one. See, B1 is for the connection details. You are able to see here B1.
Yes, sir.
No, B1 is for the connections. Oh, you mean to say we have not used why we have not used B byte instead of B1, right?
Yes, sir.
No, this is for the connection details. Okay.
Okay.
So H1 is the depth. So we are looking at only the the overall the buckling of this web. So B1, C, G, G1, as already I told you, they are the connection details.
Okay.
See, that is a 2071.65, right? You mean to say. So that distance is slightly different. If you see this carefully, this is for the, you have seen he has put up bolts and other things. Okay, so that is slightly different mode.
Okay, sir.
So we will use B by 2 only for the flanges.
Okay.
And why B by 2? Because middle you have this web which comes into picture.
Yes, sir.
Is it fine?
Yes, sir.
No. You will understand this B1, C1 when it comes to the connections.
Okay, sir.
So you will now let us go back to. So now we see. So let us go back to our PPT. So now this is the one. Okay. So now with this, we have completed. You see one, section kind of a thing in our thing. So I will just summarize. Okay. So I will just ask you free questions so that I will also will be fine that you would have understood. So now, what do you mean by steel?
An alloy of iron and carbon.
Excellent. Now steel means what is that metallurgical terms are there, right? We said austenite, pearlite, ferrite and others. So our mild steels, what does it? What is the combination of things?
Ferrite plus pearlite.
Ferrite plus pearlite. Excellent. So ferrite gives you?
Ductility.
Excellent. Pearlite gives you?
Strength.
Fine, fantastic. Okay, so this, I think if you have answered this question, you have understood everything. Now why steel is not used in temple construction? Now also you followed, right? Not only olden days, now also Ayodhya, I told now many temples they don't use
Steel
steel.
is considered as impure material
Excellent. Okay, so that
according
is
to
the reason.
Agama Shastra.
Agama Shastra, whatever is there. Now which steel is used in construction right now? I have told you, right? Cast iron, wrought iron, so many things are there. What is the one which we are using in this construction right now? Which steel we are using? Mild steel or cast iron, wrought iron, stainless steel, or what steel we are using right now? Our code also.
Mild steel.
Mild steel. Excellent. So if you know this one, you have understood. Now what is carbon equivalent? Now this is a very, very important formula which we have told previously also. Carbon equivalent means, now you may not remember the formula, but what it is broadly.
If we add
So
other
number
materials,
One by one. Tell me one by one. Your ladies first. Tell me.
the different components of added in the steel like manganese, chromium, nickel,
Excellent.
their ratio is taken
Yes,
by the
yes.
weight.
Perfect. Now that person who want same answer or you wanted to tell different?
same answer.
Okay, excellent. So if all of you are able to, that is fine. Now what's the difference between ductility and strength?
Ductility is the maximum strain the material can take, and strength is the maximum stress it can take.
Okay, fantastic. So strength is governed by which one? Now, what is the engineering parameter? No, yield strength or ultimate tensile strength. Okay, fantastic. So ductility means capacity, rotational capacity or whatever this way. Now what are Luder bands?
Loader's band is the banding that happens in the material when it is under tension from yield stress to strain hardening.
That is perfect. What is it? That is perfect. Perfect. But loader band means, suppose if I have a band like this, what does it tells me? Suppose I have bands this side there is free. So what does it tells you, this band? So this side of the band what it is, this side of the band what it is. See, if a loader band has formed, what does it means in the material? What has happened in the material?
It has yielded.
It has yielded. So wherever it has not formed, so it is unyielded. So it is like a junction between yielded and unyielded. If you see the test, okay. So these are the most important thing. Under loader bands, you will see in what type of materials. You will see in all steels.
Low carbon steel.
That is mild steel. Okay, that is so this you please remember. Now what is resilience?
So the area under the stress strain curve in the elastic region.
Excellent. So this you should remember. You should remember whole your life itself. Okay. So now COVID you followed, right? How fast we have recovered. That is also matter. So resilience. Which country has more resilience in COVID? Which has come back to its original position?
New Zealand.
No, we don't know. So resilience. So this resilience means any disaster happens, say, you should be in elastic only and you should come back to original position. That is a resilience. Very, very popular word. Okay. Stephen Hawking, if you remember, resilience you should remember. Once you see that fellow, resilience should have come into your mind. Now what is toughness? What is toughness?
Total area in the stress strain curve.
Excellent. Total area. Now what is FE 410? 410 indicates what?
Ultimate strength.
Ultimate tensile strength. Okay. Now we have seen steel sections. What are the important design variables? What is that in design variables? What are the important materials? Variables, sorry. In the steel code you have got, right? What are those? For tension members,
modulus.
what's the design variable? See, for a tension member, what's the design variable you look for? Now, we told, right, sigma is P by A. Now, what is the most important thing?
Dimensions.
Area.
Area. Excellent. Okay. Then if it is a compression member, say what extra information you require? Area is required.
Slenderness ratio.
Slenderness ratio, moment of inertia, you followed it, radius of gyration, all those things are required. Then if it is a beam, say, what is that you require?
Section modulus.
Z M by Z. So this is the one which you require. So like this also you should know. Now why built up sections are used? Compound or built up sections? So we told, right, if some factory things are rolled this one. Now why do we require a built up sections?
To get custom sections.
Custom sections, and suppose you may not have that moment of inertia, say, for the sections which are given in steel tables. So you manufacture whatever way you like. Okay. And now what is the plastic hinge? Now what's the definition of plastic hinge? Just now we discussed.
Hinge that is formed, that is under constant moment, but has
perfect. Ordinary hinges?
Zero moment.
Zero moment. But plastic hinges?
Constant.
Constant but
constant.
Perfect. So if you know this, now section classification. Just now we have seen what type of sections are now, which type of sections you should know. Our IS code doesn't permit the table. We had only 3, but there are 4. Please tell once again.
Slender sections.
Excellent. So slender sections are not allowed. But how do you convert a slender section into semi-compact?
Reducing the effective area.
Reducing the effective area. You are not cutting anything, but just assuming that although it is 194.2 itself. Okay. So fantastic. Okay. So now if you have answered all these questions, it means you followed it. Our first unit or whatever we discussed, things are all clear. Okay. So I will stop here. So from next class we will start the loads. So we will see these loads on our Friday class. Okay. So fine.
Sir, that
Please.
table you showed, no, about that slenderness, no, about
Yes.
that ratio, as in epsilon, this times, yes,
This
this table. Is it in the code?
Code only, no. I have not copied from anywhere.
Okay, sir.
See, everything, see, our course is all IS code only. You can't do whatever you require.
Okay.
See, already this is a table, table 2.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
B by T, what's the value? 9.4, you have seen, right? 10.5, 15.7, then
Yes.
angle section, say 15.7. This table only I have copied there.
Okay.
See, another thing I just wanted to mention you, see, in whatever slides I'm presenting, see, all are have picked up from code only, because that is our Bible, okay? See, here also you see, you are seeing here, plastic definition 3.7.2. See, class 1 plastic,
Yes.
class 2 compact semi. So we have copied from here only, okay? So our code book has everything. Now, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, so everything is available in the course.
Okay.
In fact, even sometimes, we, not even follow, right? We don't even require a textbook. Code itself is sufficient. But sometimes textbook we use to solve problems. Okay. So anyway, I will stop recording.